Greetings, Eternum. JChalant, KOTT News. Eternum's #1 source for news. News you can rely on. After surviving a grueling 9-hour, 13,587-meter swim, just under 3 leagues, I've managed to make land on the coast of Eternum, here on the beaches of Everfall, and I'm witnessing the arrival of still more. Hundreds of thousands of additional refugees emerging from the first leg of their triathlon, swimming ashore after surviving the maelstrom of corruption that surrounds Eternum. Arriving with nothing, they busy themselves gathering basic materials to craft rudimentary tools for survival. But how will they survive when the corruption abounds? We spoke to some refugees to gain their insight. Excuse me, sir. JChalant, KOTT News. Do you mind if I ask you how far you had to swim to get here today? For example, I had a 13,587-meter swim. That's 13-kilometer swim to get here to the island today. How far did you have to swim today? It was nearly 3 leagues for me. Sister Maria, thank you for taking a moment to stop and talk to me. JChalant, KOTT News. Turnham's #1 source for news you can rely on. How long was your swim? How far did you have to swim to get here today, sister? 15 kilometers to get here today. Wow, that is quite the swim. You must be tired. Please warm up by the campfire. I hope you get wet. When you left port for Eternum, did you feel confident in your ability to secure your name before you saw that 13-kilometer swim, Sister Marin? And Sister Maria, no. Did you get the name you wanted, Sister Maria? You gotta go. Sister Maria's gotta go. There's a lot of things to do here on Eternum. Thank you, Sister Maria, for your time. As even more swimmers emerge from the queue, the marathon begins as they run all over Eternum, tirelessly in pursuit of their goals. But there will be no bicycle or mounts for the third segment of this marathon. Rather, a grueling rock-climbing stage as these noble refugees pull themselves up to gaze upon Eternum. This has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News. I'm here in the hamlet of Everfall, where a seasonal traditional holiday is being celebrated by the local residents. Every year on this day, at this time, all the citizens of Eternum unite in joyous celebration. At exactly 8 a.m. local service time and lasting until the next server reset, Eternum's annual Festival of Campfires, also known as the Great Campfire Festival, begins. We found a few excited townsfolk to describe the festival to newcomers. Excuse me, sir. JChalant, KOTT News. Do you have a moment to talk about the Great Campfire Festival?
Yeah, sure. I got a moment. That's about it, though.
Oh, thank you, sir, for taking the time to talk to me a little bit. Could you tell us at KOTT News what the Campfire Festival means to you?
It means a nice warm night, a nice comfortable place to lay my head at night, and fires to look at the fire burn. I like fires. Not that I'm a pyromaniac or anything, but I like fires. And you need fire to burn some of the temps you find around here. But I really don't have much time. Anything else you need to know?
No, I think that'll be enough. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. I appreciate it.
I'm looking for the little syndicate's room. Do you know where that is?
I beg your pardon, sir. It's right over there, right off to the left.
All right. Damn it, occupied. Maybe I can get in the back door.
For those interested in this year's events, the longest continuous campfire caterpillar competition runs all week. The open world art category is always something to look forward to, as well as the geometric shape competition. And of course, for the truly ambitious, no one has yet to master the new world emblem campfire replication. So good luck to all of the participants, and be sure to set your campfire. This has been JChalant, KOTT News. Breaking news, this is JChalant reporting live via recorded transmission from Brightwood, where tens of hundreds of refugees from Everfall are arriving after the fall of the fort. In a stunning upset by the Marauders earlier this evening, Ghost Legion has failed to hold the hamlet of Everfall. The former head honchos of the humble hamlet have been understandably silent following the loss. As they come to terms with the loss and plan their next move, we asked some new arrivals how the war outcome impacted them. JChalant, KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. How do you feel about tonight's war outcome, and what are you expecting in tonight's 7:30 time slot?
It's quite unfortunate that over the past couple of weeks we've seen us slowly losing territory or whatnot. Defending we've been kind of all right, but I don't have a good positive outcome on what's coming here in the future. I don't think there's I feel like I'm losing hope.
As you can see, some people are frustrated by tonight's outcome and are hoping to find a new home here in Brightwood. We tried reaching the governor of Brightwood for comment, but Prince Jarvan was incredibly busy attending to the new arrivals to his town, reminding everyone to learn the deep woods and waterways that surround the region, as well as to engage in any opposing faction attempting to increase the war pressure, or at the very least, shout out the location of any enemy you see. We will bring you more on this breaking story, as well as the results of the Ebonscale War currently in progress, live at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News. This is War Correspondent JChalant, and I'm here at Fort Windsward, currently held by the marauding Hexy, where later this evening, Ghost Legion 2 shall be representing the Syndicate in an all-out war to claim the hamlet. Refugees from Everfall are particularly excited for the possibility of a new home in a more centralized region, and are out in full support. Tonight's simulated fantasy combat is brought to you by LARPCO brand LARPing products. If it's not LARPCO, it's cardboard. And in the early battle tonight, we find the syndicates of syndicates laying siege to the marauders of Death's Wish for control of the forward region of Morningdale. KOTT News would like to remind all company leaders of our faction to avoid assisting in corruption invasions of unheld regions. Scholars are aware of the long-term impact, but urge you to allow those forces to hamper the otherwise marauding forces of Team Green. We'll be back after the battles. You know it, son. We'll be back after the battles to get immediate reactions from all the citizens at 11. Until then, good luck, Team Purple. This has been JChalant, KOTT News. Bears. You hear about them on the town mission board. But where are they? And why only kill one? Just as regional leaders were organizing the Brightwood Backwoods Bear Battalion to address the growing number of bears hibernating near Brightwood's primary fresh lake water source, an unexpected influx of refugees from Everfall ascended on Brightwood, temporarily suspending their public works project. Not turning his back on his responsibilities, however, Governor Jarvan has assigned an acting civilian liaison. We spoke with new public appointee Sir Ironhide about their new role. How do you feel about bears, my friend?
I hate bears. I despise bears. They are a plague on Blightwood.
Sir Ironhide has posted a bounty on the town's mission boards offering compensation for those willing to help. Refugees from Everfall wishing to increase their standings with Brightwood are encouraged to volunteer. Training will be provided and full payment will be made upon verification of task completion. For KOTT News, this has been investigative reporter JChalant. Hello, Eternum, war correspondent JChalant, and I'm here at the scenic Cape Thomas Beach on the coastal shores of First Light, a legitimately acquired port town known for its successful nutmeg and cinnamon trade, where later tonight the forces of Party will defend themselves from the flying rat kings of the Syndicate. In town, the streets are sparse as salesmen scurry to secure their spices before this evening's festivities. We stopped by City Hall for a pre-LARP interview, but his offices were empty. Given the fort's armament and coastal entrenchment on the cliffs, it's sure to be a straightforward turtle. The late war tonight pits the Syndicate's own Camelot Cam Girls versus the marauding greenies of Crowned. Be sure to tune in to both of these events brought to you by LARPCO brand Foam Core LARPing products. That's LARPCO brand. If it's not LARPCO, it's cardboard. Stay tuned after tonight's battles for immediate reactions on the streets and interviews from the locker rooms. This has been Eternum's #1 source for news, KOTT News. Hello, Eternum, and welcome to the War Report. War correspondent JChalant here, and where is here? Here is back in Everfall, where tonight the Syndicate forces of Mandalore have had enough with the tax rates of Everfall, citing a lack of Homeowners Association regulations prohibiting bunk bed ladders and ramps. With a mercenary-heavy contingent including members of Ghost Legion, Primordus, and Royal Company, they are here to reclaim the hamlet from the marauding greenies of the Reckoning. Join us after tonight's simulated fantasy combat resolution for immediate reactions. Until next time, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News. Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report. I'm here in the hamlet of Weaver's Fen, where later this evening, Ghost Legion will attempt to seize the region from Imperial Guard, who look ready to defend their position against any who should try. With only a handful of mercenary positions available, Ghost Legion is representing in full force tonight. Meanwhile, in Everfall, the Reckoning seeks to stretch the current Neverfall record to 4 straight holds. Will they hold out, Or will the forces of Ghost Legion reclaim what was once theirs through simulated fantasy combat resolution? Brought to you by LARPCO brand foam core simulated combat gear. Remember, if it's not LARPCO, it's cardboard. Join us after tonight's simulated fantasy combat resolution for immediate reactions. Until next time, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News. Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report. The religious zealots of Running Dawn have declared war on the unsuspecting hamlet of Brightwood. Or were they unsuspecting? Mindful of both their civic responsibility and duties, the Council rapidly deployed their response, submitting their unofficial roster to the League. Non-combatants in the war can contribute to defending their homes by submitting Fort Mission Board quests, which is what I'm doing because I just started building my house. Check it out. This is going to be where the editing station is. Over here is going to be a window. This is kind of going to be the communal garden. And check out this little easement pathway. If things go well, we asked one of the zealots their rationale. What grievance do you bring upon the good people of Brightwood? What have they done to you?
Well, see, the good people of Brightwood, I have no problem with them. It's, these purple guys, they're raising a ruckus.
Earlier last night, Running Dawn's junior varsity failed in their attempts to claim a region, but tonight is where both companies will leave it all on the field. Good luck, Primordius. We're all rooting for you. Welcome to the scenic hamlet of Ebonscale. Welcome. A place of tranquility and peace. A place where tonight there will be war. Here from the battlefield, the force of Tea Party will attempt to seize the castle of Ebonscale. But that's not all. There's more. Defending the castle will be Royal Company. Who stand ready to defend.
So ready.
So be sure to tune in tonight.
Tonight.
And stay tuned to the action.
Action.
You'll pay for the whole seat, but you'll only use the edge. Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the weekend wrap-up with your host, JChalant. In our top story, late last night, syndicate company Eleatell came out of nowhere to build enough pressure on Windsward to declare war. A valiant effort was made, but caught unprepared, Hex let slip the castle to the victorious unknowns of Eleatell. Former citizens of Everfall immediately began flooding the hamlet, reclaiming some homeland from the forces of the Marauders. The new governing company immediately began distributing fibers from the supply cart for crafters to make blanket and clothes. 2 nights ago, the intellectual geniuses of Primordius firmly staved off the zealots of Running Dawn. Seemingly unprepared, the faithful Running Dawn were routinely run down as they exited their camps. The final morale crusher was Primordius intentionally yielding a point and allowing their sub-60s to frontline, turning the war into a practice skirmish. We spoke to Primordius after the war.
You see, there's multiple facets to the war, and I think that was a very necessary psychological blow to shatter their formations.
And their mental fortitude.
Correct. There's nothing wins a war like breaking the enemy's spirits.
Following their victory, the forces of Primordius vanished into the night, once again protecting the citizens from the corrupted. But what is the corrupted? We asked the local expert to explain the corruption. Hello, Miss JChalant, KOTT News. Can you tell us, what is the corruption? Where did it come from? And how can we avoid it?
You are honest, aren't you?
When does it appear? How is size determined, and how can we fight back?
I have no sympathy for the plight of humans in the battle against corruption.
What causes invasions? What impact does it have on a town, and why can't everyone help defend?
Because corruption's power feeds the ego.
What is the angry earth? Why are they angry at us? And can there be peace between us?
Do you even realize how much you ask?
Tune in at 11 for that complete interview. Until then, this has been investigative reporter JChalant, KOTT News. Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report. I'm here in the hamlet of Windsward, volunteering at the local hemp cart, handing out blankets in preparation for the autumn. As Elazian leadership prepares the hamlet for the upcoming winter, their forces will be divided in tonight's upcoming war. The Marauders of Hex will invoke their rematch rights and immediately challenge Elazian for control of the region once again. Prior to that, Prince Jarvan of Primordius would like to remind everyone to remain vigilant for PvP opportunities during the Brightwood invasion. He wouldn't put it past those sneaky greenies to try and exploit our focused attention on defending the hamlet from the corruption. We'll have results and immediate reactions after tonight's live broadcast at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News. Hello Eternum and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report. Exploiting last night's invasion of the corrupted, the Marauders of Party have declared war on Brightwood. Prince Jarvan was too busy addressing the needs of the citizens to comment on such tactics, but calmly suggested that Party go back to First Light to regain their honor first. They are not prepared for the woods. Meanwhile, later in the evening, the televised blackout restrictions were lifted from the Fort of Windsward, revealing the flags of Elazian still hanging after the long battle. Tireless in their civic duties, the members of Elazian gathered on the steps of City Hall to organize their blanket drive. Pick up your faction-exclusive complimentary hemp fibers and make your own seasonal blanket today. Those top stories again: purple rules, green drools. Remember, not selected for invasion, it's prime world PvP defense time. Not selected for war, fight the corruption in your region to help support your hamlet. Speaking of war, how will the war patch impact tonight's outcome? Tune in for reactions and interviews at 11. This has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News. Hello Eternum and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report. Hello Eternum and welcome to the hamlet of Reekwater, where later this evening the syndicate forces of elite mercenaries, that's the collective name of the company, not a descriptive commentary on the composition of said forces. Anyways, elite mercenaries attacking Crown. As the legitimate founders of Reekwater, Crown has fed the people with daily supplies of food and introduced simple exchanges to facilitate trade. So why has this distant lichen-covered region come under such scrutiny? Because while they may be marauders, they stick to the rules of Thunderdome. So tonight, it will be 2 factions enter, 1 may leave, for total control of this coastal region. Crowned looks to have the fort fully upgraded, having had the time since launch to complete it, but will it hold? In the early fight, it's Running Dawn trying to reclaim a region since losing Weaver's Fen to her Imperial Guard, who themselves have since lost it to the Loyalists. And be sure to assist fort mission boards after the invasion in Windsward tonight as well to help maintain that region. Stay tuned after tonight's events for immediate reactions and comments at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News. Hello Eternum and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report. Hello Eternum and welcome to Everfall, where the first of a double-header between the forces of Elazian and the Reckoning will take place later tonight. Both companies putting it all on the line tonight, as each will take turns defending themselves from each other. In the early matchup, it's Elazian knocking on the gates of the Reckoning. Then, after a brief intermission, the forces of the Reckoning will ring the doorbell of Elazian. In this serious game of trick or treat, all anyone wants to know is who will get some candy and who will get TP'd. And yes, Elazian is the up-and-coming company with a lot to prove. And yes, the Reckoning is looking to extend the current Neverfall record to 5. But it's the late game that everyone is talking about, the Church of Disrespect. Original founder of Cutlass Keys, who has remained silent since launch, out of nowhere challenges Crowned 2 for rulership of the coastal region of Restless Shore. Formerly known as Seven Kings and OG founder of Restless Shore, an alliance was formed and Crowned 2 was born. Quietly governing and developing their port town, we shall see how prepared they were for this unexpected turn of events. Disrespect has been secretly sailing around the Cape and has set camp on the beach. Meanwhile, Crowned has provisioned their fort sitting high atop the cliffside. It will be an uphill battle for control that we're hoping to get a camera person for to bring you live reports from the field. In any event, we will have commentary and reaction from tonight's fights at 11. Until next time, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News.